These Labradoodle puppies are 2 weeks old. In today's video, we're going to find out if they can see, because puppies are born blind and deaf. Hi, I'm Claire from Isle Labradoodles, and this is a week 2 litter update for our Petite Australian Labradoodles from the Petite Noix litter. And in this video today, we're going to find out, have these puppies opened their eyes yet? When are they going to be able to hear? And we're going to talk about vets, trainers, and groomers. So these Petite Australian Labradoodle puppies continue to grow. As you can see, they are much larger than they were just 2 weeks ago when they first arrived. When puppies are first born, it's hard to believe that they're going to be able to survive. They're so tiny, uncoordinated, they don't have much strength, and puppies cannot see, they cannot hear, they can't control their body temperature, they can't even go to the bathroom on their own. They're pretty much helpless. The only thing they have that's working are heat sensors in their nose that tell them what general direction they need to go to find the milk bar and the warmth that comes from mom's milk bar. Now, at week 2, we're going to see some of them starting to open their eyes. And the reason why they haven't opened their eyes is because their nervous system isn't ready yet for that stimuli. Now, if you watch our other 2-week updates from the Sweet Fusion playlist, and from the Confetti Sprinkles playlist, and also from the Kaleidoscope playlist, you'll hear lots of different information about what's involved with eyes opening, ears opening, why puppies are born this way, and what determines when they open them. So we encourage you to go watch those different episodes. You'll learn all sorts of things, and it's really quite fascinating how it is that puppies are born with so few of their senses working and how they develop over time. So now, not all of these puppies will likely have their eyes open. I'm not giving it away. We'll wait till we do our updates to see if anyone has their eyes open. And that's just simply because, as I said, their nervous system isn't ready for their to have all of that stimuli. Sorry about that. My phone was thinking I was dictating to it. So that's all that happens, is they just can't absorb all of the information that's going to be coming into their brain when they are able to see and hear. Now, with respect to their hearing, sometimes that happens very soon after their eyes open, but more often it's around when they turn 3 weeks old. So this week coming up is a big week for the puppies in terms of how they are able to interact with the world. Now, puppies' eyes are all blue when they first open, but they don't stay blue. Blue eyes in Australian Labradoodles are not something you want to see. Blue eyes generally mean that there might be a predisposition to albinism, or that the dog is an albino. And of course, we don't want to have that due to the attendant health concerns that come with albinism. Lots of times dogs who have blue eyes and are white tend to be deaf, and when they are deaf, they tend to then lose their sight within the first year or 2. So those are the health things that tend to be associated with canine albinism. Then, like human albinism, they are very prone to sun issues, skin cancers, and need to be protected from the sun. So albinism is something that we don't want to see in our puppies. We want to have it so that we don't have any risks of them being deaf or blind. Now, all our breeding dogs undergo extensive testing on their eyes. They see a canine ophthalmologist. She examines their eyes for a whole series of eye diseases. And then there's also a DNA test, which goes on to further examine from their DNA if they are carrying or have any diseases that are related to eye concerns. So all of our breeding dogs are tested for all of those things. And of course, they do need to be clear before they are used as a breeding dog. So in terms of their eyes, and when they open, just what does that mean for the puppy? So lots of people think puppies can't see, or dogs can't see colors, but they can. They don't see everything in gray or black and white. They can see some colors. They just don't see as wide of a spectrum of colors, of the different hues that we do. And some colors are very difficult for them to see, similar to males who are colorblind. So for instance, orange and green, those two colors are not, dogs can't differentiate between them. So if you have a bright red or orange ball and you're throwing it on your beautiful green lawn, your dog's not going to be able to see the ball because it all looks the same to your dog. It all comes across as just one color. And this is very similar to males who are colorblind. They usually cannot discern the difference between red and green either, which makes it tricky when you're driving. And why I think you cannot get your pilot's license, because these are important things to be able to distinguish in that field. So they do see colors, just not as many as we do. And when their eyes first open, what are puppies seeing? Well, they're just seeing big blobs. It's just big general shapes. They aren't really able to tell much about anything. They certainly can't do any face recognition, whereas like Noisette knows my face, she knows Reynolds' face, she knows her mom's face, but she isn't able to, the puppies aren't able to do that initially. They're still relying on their noses to identify us to them. So all these puppies know I'm me based on how I smell. And if you put these puppies in with all of our other female dogs, they would know immediately which dog was Noisette and who they belonged to, just based on the smell of Noisette. It wouldn't be because they could differentiate her in terms of how she looks at this point. Now in the future, you'll notice that your Australian Labradoodle puppy gravitates to all other doodle type puppies. They will always go first to a dog that looks like them. Well, how does that work? Because these dogs will never know what they look like. They have no idea what they look like. So how do they know that this dog or any other Labradoodle is similar to them? We don't know the answer to that, but we suspect it must be something in the way that the body moves. If you look at different breeds of dogs, you'll see that they all have quite a distinctive structure as well as gait and the way that they go about things in the world. They also have very distinctive facial features in terms of expression. Yes, they also have physical features that are distinct breed to breed, but the facial expression is also very key. So dogs can recognize our body language. That's how dogs speak to one another, is through their smells and through their body language. So what we presume is that dogs are able to recognize body language belonging to their tribe, so to speak. And I can tell you with our dogs, if a Van Isle Doodle is out and they see another Van Isle Doodle, they don't have to be from the same litter. They will instantly know, hey, you are part of my big tribe. And if they are from the same litter, there'll be even more excitement as they recognize, hey, you are actually from my even more close cohort. And they'll just go nuts over each other. So it's really fun to watch and interesting because we don't know exactly what it is that the puppies are relying on when they are able to recognize this, but they do. They will always, as I said, favor another Labradoodle, and then over a Labradoodle, a Van Isle Doodle, and over a Van Isle Doodle, one of their litter mates. And that will last for forever. And you'll find that wherever you go. It's quite fun to watch, actually. Now today we have a little toy in here. This toy is here because the puppies really are not playing yet. This toy is just here for them to become used to having something that is not one of them or Noisette in the box with them. This is our first step to desensitization. I want to point out that this toy is not a safe toy for a dog that is anything much older than these puppies. And the reason for that is this dog, or elephant rather, I'll get it, yeah, has eyes. These are dangerous for anything with teeth because these could come off and they could be swallowed. It's perfectly fine when they're infants like this because this is just here for a little bit of a different texture and because this is not another puppy. Now, for all of you getting a puppy from this litter, first of all, you're so lucky because they're just the nicest puppies. You can always tell a Noisette puppy. They're very quiet. They're very relaxed puppies, just like Noix is herself. She's just the sweetest little girl, and she certainly passes that trait on to all of her puppies. Noisette has an extraordinary therapy dog qualities that she uses quite regularly, and you will also see that in Noisette's puppies. She's really just an outstanding dog. We're very sorry this is her last litter. However, what you need to start doing if you are one of the families in this litter is start thinking about your vet, your groomer, and your trainer. You will get a video that talks about this in more detail, but basically those are the three most important people in your dog's life besides me as your breeder. Those are the partnerships that are going to be with you and your dog for a very long time. Vets are extremely difficult to come by right now. So in the video, which was made several years ago, I talk about going and interviewing vets and finding one that matches your philosophy and also is where you're most comfortable. You probably don't have that luxury now. Now you are going to be lucky if you can find a vet, period. So start off with making sure that you have a vet. You want to have your vet right now in place because you're going to need a vet in only 6 weeks from now. So make sure you have one. And then once you have a spot secured, then you can take some time to look around and you can get on the wait list for the vet that you would prefer. It's okay, hon. It's okay. Noisette can just do that. Our housekeeper is just moving by with the vacuum. It's okay, hon. It's okay. This is how Noisette is very protective. Okay. Shh, 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 shh. There we go. It's okay, babe. That's a good girl. So start off with finding the vet that you can get in with and then going on to the wait list for the one that you prefer. You do want to be sure that the vet knows what an Australian Labradoodle is and that don't have any Australian Shepherd in them, that they're not Golden Doodles, they're not Labradoodles, that these are ALDs, they're registered, they have a breed standard, and so they can treat them appropriately. Now this holds true also for the groomer and for the trainer. Trainers, anybody can say they're a dog trainer, so you want to be very careful with choosing a trainer. If you're on Vancouver Island, our first recommendation is always Communicanine. They are excellent professional dog trainer. They offer wonderful puppy socialization classes, and then they have a terrific manners class as well as a really good recall class. I can't recommend them more strongly. They are very familiar with our dogs. They do know what an Australian Labradoodle is. They do know how to work with an ALD. Also, Taylor, who works for us, does run puppy group classes up and down the island. She's also available to do board and train, and she also can work with you one-on-one. She is a certified puppy trainer, and of course her specialty is ALDs. So Taylor is also a good choice. And then now for when you're looking for a trainer, make sure you go to a class, go to a puppy class. Tell them you just want to sit in. First of all, you want the place to be clean, tidy, professionally run, organized, good parking, good clean places around the building where your dog can relieve themselves, that everything is in good condition. Then in the class, you want to make sure that everything's relaxed, that the way that the trainers are approaching everything you're comfortable with, and that you would feel good bringing your puppy there. Now for a groomer, they are almost as scarce as vets. Good groomers are booked up months and months in advance. So you want to go and find your groomer now and start booking appointments for your puppy. About 3-4 weeks after your puppy goes home, you're probably going to want to take them in to have their eyes trimmed and a little sani cut done on their bums. Now ALDs, as you know, are fluffy. Noisette is really clipped up short right now because she has puppies, but even though she's clipped up short, you can see she has lots of coat. And at the other end from her head, there's this much fur as well. So when we are pooping, sometimes this can get really stuck in our fur. So we want to make sure that as puppies, we always have under the bum here, a sani shave done is what we call it. And basically all that's doing is keeping the hair right under the tail, clipped right up really short. That way we don't have any poop sticking on our bums there. Lots of times we have people say, oh my gosh, my puppy is having a terrible time. He can't go to the bathroom. I can see him. He's trying and trying and trying, and they aren't having success. 99 times out of 100, all they need is to have their bum washed because there's so much poop stuck on their bum that the family hasn't noticed that any new poop isn't able to come out anymore. Lots of families go to the vet and pay for a vet visit only to find out they needed to wash their dog's bum. So keep that in mind if you see your puppy having any trouble. One of the things you want to do with your puppy is check under their tail regularly and make sure their bum is fine. That's a very important thing. Poop tells us a lot about our dogs, so it's one of the things you'll become more and more familiar with. So for a groomer, again, you want to make sure they know what an Australian Labradoodle is. You want to make sure they know what an Australian Labradoodle clip is. Ask to see their book. They'll have a book of dogs that they've groomed. Take a look, make sure that the pictures of their doodle clips are exactly what all of our dogs look like on the website. Go look up Noisette's picture on the website. Look at how she's looking right now. Compare it to whatever groomer you're thinking of. And post on the community page asking for recommendations. Make sure you tell them your name, where you live, and then ask for suggestions. We get a lot of people who contact us complaining, crying, because somebody has poodled their doodle. We also, you'll see on the family group, a lot of dogs who have really long ears so that they look, sorry, I've bothered your ears now. So they look a bit more like a Cocker Spaniel. ALDs have their ears clipped right up to the leathers, that's the skin, and then they have a steep angle here. As soon as you let their ears grow out and long, well, it's really pretty. They have beautiful coats, they have long silky ears. They don't look like an ALD anymore. They look like a Cocker Spaniel. Now, if you wanted a Cocker Spaniel, I presume you would have gone and found a Cocker Spaniel breeder. So if they're clipped up properly, they'll continue to have this teddy bear look. You can see how well Noisette's eyes are featured. She has huge eyes. You get to really notice those eyes. Eye contact is a big deal with an ALD, so you want to have them clipped up so those eyes are visible. You also don't want to have hair over your ALD's eyes. You may see that on some websites from ALD breeders where the hair is like this. I personally don't like that look, but regardless of that fact, it's really dangerous for the dog. When your hair is like this as a dog, you can't see. When you can't see, it's very scary. Although they don't rely on their sight like we do, they still need that acuity of vision to be able to assess situations and understand how to behave in situations. They do rely very strongly on their eyes to read body language, whether it's yours or another dog's. And if you're blocking their ability to do that, you're creating a dog who's going to be fearful because they can't read that body language anymore. So they're clueless. They are not able to get any communication. Whereas if you and I talk, I can be like this and not able to see you at all, but I can tell from the tone of your voice, I can understand from the words you're saying, whether I'm in a safe situation, a funny situation, or a dangerous situation. You block your dog's vision and they can't make that assessment. So it's very unfair to the dog. It's also not good for their vision. When I was a kid, my mother used to always tell me to get my hair out of my eyes. She was forever getting upset if my hair would fall over my eyes. Now, when you were a kid, maybe you did what I did, where you put your head down, your hair would go over your face and you kind of hide behind your eyes. And it's true. If your hair is over your eyes all the time, it can make your eye turn in. It can make one eye be lazy, one eye have to work too hard. It's the same with dogs. Their eyes have the same basic principle as ours. They're not particularly different, other than they can see in the dark. So it doesn't matter to them whether the lights are on or off. They can see just as well in any amount of light. So those are your things to keep in mind when you're finding a groomer, a trainer, and a vet. Go check them all out. You've got the time now before you get your puppy. Now's the time to have everything in place. And for families, you will want to take your puppy to be examined by your vet within 3 days of taking your puppy home from us. There are 2 parts to your warranty, and one is within that 3-day period. If you haven't read the contract, it's on the website on the purchasing page, or just send me an email and I'll send you a blank contract so you can read through it and know what that requirement is under the purchase contract. So you want to have that vet, and you'll want to be getting that 3-day appointment booked. You'll also should be booking your second set of shots, which are due 4 weeks after the puppy's wellness exams. You have the date for that. You'll want to be getting signed up for your training class. Communicating fills up very quickly, so I would suggest you book that. Those puppy classes should start within 10 days of taking your puppy home, no longer, preferably within 5 days. And you'll also want to get booking your grooming appointment that I was just talking about for getting the face and the bum tidy. And then you'll want to book their first puppy clip for about 10 days after their 3rd set of shots. You want your puppy to have their full immunity when they go in for a bath and everything. You don't want them being exposed to dogs you don't know anything about when they don't have their full immunity. So time to get going and do some work in preparation for your puppy's arrival. Now let's do the puppy update and let's find out if we have any dogs with eyes open here after all this talking about eyes. Our first little puppy is going to be Pink Collar Girl. Pink Collar Girl is our little Noisette clone in that she is a chocolate just like her mom. She doesn't have any white showing. And are you going to show any eyes? And yes, she is. She has her eyes open. Miss Pink opened her eyes yesterday, and so she has been enjoying looking at her brand new world. And Miss Pink is now 871 grams. Next we have Mr. Blue Collar. Mr. Blue Collar is our little blonde caramel boy here, biscuit color. I have been calling him Biscuit. And you can see that Mr. Blue is absolutely not interested in seeing anything, thank you very much. He has the teeniest of slits going on just on the one right eye. I don't think he's going to open his eyes today. Perhaps Saturday, but more likely we're going to have to wait until Sunday. What's the longest we can wait for our eyes to open before we need to see a vet? 21 days. So we've got a long ways to go. And Mr. Blue is 712 grams. Next we've got Green Collar Boy. Hey Green, that's you, right? Yep. Just got to make sure always got the right puppy. This is Mr. Green here. That's Mr. Mint over there. Mr. Green is our other caramel who's lighter. I call this guy a blonde caramel. What he really is, if we're going to be technical, is an iced caramel. He's our little tuxedo style boy, and he also does not want to see the world. He says, no thanks, I'm pretty happy living in the way I've got things, where I don't have to worry about anything, nothing that I have to worry about seeing or hearing. He too has a tiny little slit in his right eye. I think he's also going to be a Sunday eye opener. And Mr. Green is the smallest puppy in the litter. I can still almost fit him all into one hand. Not quite, but pretty much. He is 656 grams. Then we have yellow collar right here. Yellow collar is our other dark chocolate puppy, except for he is a he, not a she, because everybody is a he except for Pink. And guess what? I'm not showing my eyes either. He doesn't really even have any slits. It's a little harder to see in the chocolate because their eyes are a little bit less obvious, but he doesn't seem to have any slits going on there. So he might be Sunday, might be Monday. Sometimes they surprise you, you don't see any slits, and then poof, there they are. The next day they're all the ways open. Yeah, that's right. And Mr. Yellow is 712 grams. Then we have red collar. And red collar is appropriate because red collar is a very dark red caramel. Now, is this puppy going to stay this dark red color? Usually what we do is we pull their fur back and we look at the roots. And if the roots are lighter, then we know the coat's going to lighten. And this puppy's roots are lighter, so he is not going to stay as dark of a red as he is right now. So just so everybody's prepared for that coat color change. And Mr. Red Collar is also not showing his eyes. Nope, the boys do not seem to be interested in seeing the world. They're all sticking together. He also does not have any slits going on, so he may be perhaps not opening his eyes till Monday. And Mr. Red is 786 grams. And then last but not least is mint collar, or silver collar rather. Sorry, I'm your baby. Silver collar is also our red, and he is our abstract with all these pretty white markings. He does have quite a good slit going on his right eye, so I'm going to predict he's probably going to be a Saturday eye opener. And let's just see if his color is looking like it's going to change. He too is a bit lighter underneath. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't like me doing that, making your coat go backwards? Yeah, I'm thinking this dog's eyes are definitely going to be open tomorrow. There are good slits on both of them. So Silver is probably the next contestant in terms of open eyes, and Noisette's checking it out to see what she thinks. And Silver is our biggest puppy. Excuse me, Noisette. Thank you. Thanks, sweetheart. At 837 grams. Actually, that's wrong. Pink is the biggest at 871 grams. Silver is second. So coincidentally enough, this time, the firstborn, the only girl, and the biggest puppy is the only one who has those eyes that she is willing to share with the world right now. And you can see they're not like great big eyes like Noisette's. They're just finishing opening up. They don't open up all the ways when they first open, but you can see that they're blue. They're very, very dark blue, and she's going to end up with beautiful dark brown eyes just like her mommy. Yes, she looks so much like Noisette. I can't believe how similar they are. So that's our update for this week. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you will have a moment to leave us a couple of comments. We really appreciate that. Or a thumbs up if you don't have time for a comment. And we hope we'll see you all again next week, where we will have everybody's eyes open, and we may have some ears open as well. So we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much for watching.